I've shared with you a way that you can app smash Google Classroom and Seesaw together, I wanted to share with you some other resources that are available on this slides for you to reference when you need it. So again, I love infographics. So I included some infographics that kind of just give you some quick reminders of how you can combine Google Classroom and Seesaw together. So this is an infographic that walks us through that process. The student completes a task in Google Slides, Docs, or Sheets. In that document, they find the link to share and export it. Then they choose to send a copy, and the teacher feedback can be given in Google Classroom or Seesaw. For teachers that want to give voice feedback, Seesaw is the option to do that. So this is one way that you might use Seesaw in your classroom. This is a wonderful video for somebody. It's about 19 minutes or 25 minutes long, so we're not going to watch that as a part of this, but it is another reference for you. In this activity or in this video, this teacher goes through start to finish how she integrates Seesaw and Google Classroom together. So this video link is in the slideshow, and if you have time, I highly encourage you to take the time to go through it. It gives you not only examples and ways to use it, but a very detailed explanation of how you can use Seesaw and Google Classroom together. So this is an excellent resource to reference to help further your learning. This is another example. This is an example that takes place in a high school class. This is the writing process. This teacher is having her students write an essay. So this is kind of the example of the Seesaw Classroom workflow process. So it moves this way. So a teacher begins by assigning the assignment in Google Classroom, and then moves into Seesaw, where students do some brainstorming and mapping. And then it goes back into a Google document that they make revisions and start writing their essay in Google Docs. And then goes back into Seesaw for peer editing and peer review. Goes back into Google Classroom for turning in, and then back into Seesaw for revision feedback. So it's a wonderful example how both tools work so beautifully together, even in the middle and high school classroom. So it's not just a primary tool. Offline accessibility. So Google Classroom is available as both a web platform using any internet browser, as well as apps from the App Store and Google Play. So even though Google Classroom requires an internet access, some of the tools that students might use in Google Classroom, such as Google Docs or Slides or Sheets, do have offline capabilities. So for anybody needing those reminder directions of how to make sure documents are enabled to be used offline or in areas where internet is intermittent, use this handout. This link right here will take you to the directions that show you how to make documents and set up offline access for home environments. So this is a good link to share out to your parents to make sure that they know how to enable offline working, so that students using Google tools and Google Classroom will still be able to work on work even in times when internet access isn't available. So something to think about. Seesaw also has apps for just about any kind of device. It works on the App Store, Google Play, iPhones, iPads. There are 3 different apps. There's a Seesaw Teacher app, which is what a teacher would use. And from their phone or their device, they can create activities, they can make assignments, they can do screencasting. All the tools that are available on the web version are also available on the app version. So it's a great way to really do some lessons on the go if needed. The Seesaw Student app, again, the same thing. The student can log in with their Google, and this is an easy way for students to create and finish their assignments on the go. If a student is in Google Classroom using the app and they click on a Seesaw link, it will open up the Seesaw app from their device on their phone. So it's a nice connection there. Seesaw does not have an offline mode unlike Google. So it does require an internet connection. However, assignments that are started or offline in Google that are offline in Google Drive and uploaded to Seesaw, it does support some offline journal uploads. So if you are in the middle of a Seesaw post and the internet kind of jumps out at you or disappears, it will save that post that you're on and upload the next time that there is a connection that is reestablished. So Seesaw has another platform that is great for students to use when internet connection is sometimes an issue, because it does work on mobile devices. The rest of this slideshow is just some links and references for you. So one of the things in Google Classroom that, don't forget, this is your classroom. Just like you would design your physical space, you might want to design your digital learning hub as well. So these are some links to where you can create and customize your own classroom banner. This is the banner that goes on your Google Classroom homepage. So maybe this is something that you would want to explore to make your digital classroom as unique and personal to you and your students. And I've also included some references. This is what I've already explained in the videos, but these are some written directions that show you how I got that share item and how I shared posts between Seesaw and Google Classroom. So these are here for your reference in this slideshow in case you need a reminder of how I did that before. I also provided some quick links to some basic how-tos in Google Classroom. So if you are needing a quick reminder of how to create a class, creating a new class, if you need help with just using the stream, and maybe this video is a good choice for you. I love infographics. I said that before, but this is a great infographic to kind of post as a reminder of how the classroom page works in Google Classroom. So I love this particular one because it goes through each of your options, very briefly shows you what these each do, and also give you all the different options that you as a teacher has when you're posting information in the classwork page. And of course, I also included additional classwork information and links for you here. This is information about just the Peoples tab. So if inviting guardians or adding guardians to your page wasn't something that you experienced or have added to your classroom before, you can watch this video and get specific information about how to do that. Same with the grades. So maybe the grading tab wasn't something that you utilized the last time you used Google Classroom, but this year, it's a new year, it's a new plan. So maybe this is the time that you want to explore that a little further and maybe add that into your Digital Hub Classroom this year. And I've also included Seesaw quick links as well. So these are all the videos that you would need to get started using Seesaw for the first time. And then the rest of this slideshow is just additional information, more comparisons of Google Classroom features, how they overlap and what things are kind of different for each. Wonderful uses for both, examples that you can look through on your own time. And now the rest of this session is really about your time. So our video is almost over, so you're going to have a time to hopefully stop and reflect and think about how your digital hub is going to be an expression of your classroom this year. So just different things that you could work on, things that you want to think about for the new year. Get started on your new Seesaw class, archive your old classrooms from previous years and get started on new ones, make those banners, make them your classroom unique. If you are 3 through 12 and you've never explored Seesaw, make a Seesaw account. Jump in there, explore the activity library, play with the tools, and see if those things might not be great additions to your instructional practices this year for remote learning. Start working on those expectations for student learning. How are students going to use your digital hub this year? We have links to some sample expectation charts that you can modify and add, and sometimes it's easier to build upon the work of other examples. So we've included examples there for you to work on. Start working on some norms for your classroom or Seesaw classroom. Where are your announcements going to be posted? What will students be expected to complete, and how will they post things? So start thinking about all your plans, just like you would lay out your physical classroom space. Now's the time to lay out and organize your digital learning hub as well. And of course, you can always start working on those student parent handouts for remote learning. Parents want to know all that information. Usually the beginning of school is a great time when you have parents' attention, and to get all of that information out to them is going to help ease the transition into remote learning for both parents and for yourself as well. So I hope you enjoyed all of this information. If you need any additional information or need help with anything, please feel free to reach out to myself or any of your library media specialists at your school, or of course the instructional technology department. There are tons of resources out there to help you make your transition to remote learning as successful as possible for both you and your students. Thank you for watching.